Good morning everyone. Here we are on the 8th of June, Monday in Scotland and apparently everywhere else in the world too. So we're going to start off on the floor. So if we find or get ourselves down on the mat, we're going to use something with a bit of lift so that when we sit, when our legs are crossed, our knees are lower than our hips. So for some of you that might need to be quite high because it depends how stiff we feel in our hips. And later on we will go on to our wobble cushion, which we are going to experiment with later on today. But first of all, we can just be quite stable and legs crossed. So we'll have our right leg in front to begin with. And then let's just bring our hands onto our knees. Just think about the spine. So we're looking to stack our spine one vertebrae on top of the other. So from there, we'll just do little rotations, breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. So let's start off taking our rotation just into the shoulder blades. So we're not lifting our shoulders very high to begin with. It's just that little turn in the shoulder blades. You might start to hear a little bit of cracking going on. And then we'll change that rotation now the other way. Okay, and now let's take it into a bigger turn. So we're bringing our shoulders up to our ears, back behind us, down, forward, up, back, down. See how much you can squeeze your shoulder blades together as you go back and down. Okay, let's change that direction. And then finishing with rolling back and down. Now, if you're finding it uncomfortable to have your legs crossed, don't forget you can have a position where your feet are loosely together, or you can have your feet on the floor with the knees slightly bent. So just find a position that you can maintain. So we're bringing up the left arm. Now send that left arm away so that your arms facing forward, and then we're going to rotate that inner arm so it begins to turn up to the ceiling. So you'll feel that turn then right down the arm so the palm faces up. Keeping our shoulders down, we're just going to bring that arm up and down. Keeping that shoulders down. Breathing, exhale. So it should be quite an active feeling of dropping that shoulder away from the ears. Keep your spine nice and long. Thinking about your sit bones descending down onto your mat. Hopefully you're also feeling that lower abdomen drawing in and up. Let's do two more. One, two. Okay. Roll our shoulders back and down. Let's just take a little moment to check that we've got our spine correct. So our sit bones are heading downward into our mat or our block, and the back of the waist is moving slightly back. So we're not pushing forward with our tummy. Take the right arm up, rotate, feel that rotation in the inner arm, bring the arm up as we do, drop our shoulder down away from the ear. So the arm comes up, so the inner arm is alongside the ear. If you find that you can't get all the way up, just go as far as you can, maintaining a straight arm. It's that extra journey from there to there, you'll feel it in the backs of the shoulders. Drop that shoulder down, Olive. Okay, lovely. And release. Let's do that with both arms. So we're sending both arms out. We're rotating our arms so the inner arm is pointing up to the ceiling, keeping both shoulders down, floating up. If you can, parallel arms, fingers pointed to the ceiling, shoulders down, straight arms, shoulders down. Notice you're having to activate your core to keep maintaining that. 2 more breaths, shoulders down, straight arms, and release. If you're finding that quite hard, you may find it better if you just pop yourself a little bit higher up. And let's go again. So rotate, shoulders dropping down, back waist going back behind you, sit bones descending. Trish, just do wide arms, do a Y shape and really stretch through the elbows. Drop the shoulders, keep dropping the shoulders, and then if that feels okay, you can take the thumbs behind you. Breathing, let's see if we can hold for 3 more breaths. Activating the core, keep dropping the shoulders. So it's a very active position, sending the arms up. 1 more breath, and release. So you should really feel that if you're doing it properly. If you find it easy, you're probably not doing it properly. So even if you're quite flexible, if you're doing it, activating all the right muscles and everything, you still find it quite strenuous. Now we're going to take our belt and make it at least shoulder width. Now if you're a bit stiff in the arms or the shoulders, you can have it wider. So, and some of us won't need the belt, but we'll all start off with the belt initially. So we're going to take the arms in front of us, push against our belt, and then lift up to the ceiling. So it's the same pose, but you should find it slightly easier because you've got your belt to support you. Drop your shoulders down. And you're pushing against the belt. What's happened to the back waist? So let the back waist go back, drop our shoulders, sit bones descending, and as you do that, you'll feel how your lower abdomen draws in and up. Good, and then release. So Trish, can you make your belt much wider so that when you do that, your elbows can be straight? Now, some of you, we're going to repeat that. Some of you, if you're quite flexible around this area, you can do it with your fingers crossed. So we'll cross our hands, push the palms away, and then we're stretching up. Now, this is quite hard to do if you've got any stiff shoulders, so that's where I would recommend breaking it down and doing it with the belt. Really pushing against the belt with the backs of the wrists. And then as you find that you can bring your arms in, you can obviously make your belt a little bit tighter. Okay, and then those of you that have been doing it all that time can now release. And then we're going to, those of you that are clasping with the hands, clasp, but this time change so the other little finger is underneath. Or go back to your belt. If you're doing the belt, reach up for the ceiling and then palms straight up. If you can, drop your shoulders down. Let's see if you can get the little fingers to go behind your back. Drop your shoulders, reach shoulders down away from the ears. So you don't want to be doing this. You want to have some space. Breathing. Straight elbows. Bring the inner arms closer to your ears. What's happened to the back of the waist? Make sure that you're not pushing your tummy forward. You're not pushing your rib cage forward. Keep the shoulders dropping. Let's hold for 3 more breaths. Push against the belt. If you're using your belt, straight arms. Drop your shoulders. Straight arms, 1 more breath. Really stretch through those elbows. And release. Very good. You can feel that, yeah? Give yourself a little shake. Okay, so let's just change the way we're crossing our legs. So we'll give our legs a little stretch out. And then just bring our left leg in front this time. So we'll take our left arm up again, rotate our palm, and then we're going to lean over to the right, stretch your arm away. But even as you do that, still don't bring that shoulder up to the ear because you're keeping that space. And see how long you can make that left side. And then once you've got your length, you can begin to go down to the right. Reeling, lovely. That's nice to see. And come up. Right arm, palm facing, rotate, bring the inner arm up, drop our shoulders. See how tall we can reach up to the ceiling. And then reach, leaning over to the left. So we're aiming to keep our right side long. So try not to do this kind of thing where we're bending, but keep long in the right side. And you might feel it in the hip. Keep your right hip descending. Breathing. Breathing. Nice. And release. Okay, lovely. So now take our hands, we're going to clasp them, but this time not in front, but behind our back. And if you find that that's a little bit too jammed up in the shoulders, you can use your belt again. And you can do the same thing as to push against your belt with the wrists, but only behind your back. So what we're looking for is to have nice open shoulders rolling back and down. Pushing against our belt to create that space. And then if you can clasp your hands and squeeze the shoulders together. If you find when you clasp your hands that your shoulders are hunched forward, then you're better off to give yourself a little bit more space and use the belt. Right, let's see if we can hinge forward a little bit from the tops of the legs, bringing the sternum forward. Keep your head up. Look, yeah, keep your head up so it's the sternum that moves forward and up. Lovely. Now, staying there, let go with your hands, and we're just going to lift our arms up, palms facing towards each other, shoulders away from the ears, drop the shoulders, take the thumbs back behind us. Breathing. Both elbows straight. Keep hinging forward if you can. Shoulders dropping down away from the ears. Breathing in through the nose, out through the nose, and then release. Great. Okay, and then we'll just give our legs a little shake out again. So now we're going to try our wobble cushion. So quite a few of us this morning have got one. So this is something that I've introduced in previous classes, which you can get online quite easily. It's called a wobble cushion. And it's very good for helping you to access how to correctly activate your core muscles. So sometimes it's quite hard to, not your core muscles, your, well, they are core, but your pelvic floor, more specifically your pelvic floor muscles. And sometimes it's quite hard to know when you're actually drawing your pelvic floor muscles in and up. But once you get onto your wobble cushion, in order to keep your balance, you actually can't help but activate the correct muscle. So that's what's good about it. So we're going to go onto our cushion and take the feet into our Baddha Konasana position. And if I just show you sideways, what happens is that you start to wobble as soon as you get onto your cushion. Especially in Baddha Konasana, because you've only got the soles, you've only got the sides of the feet on the floor, unless you're very flexible and your knees are down. In my case, my knees aren't on the floor, especially when I'm a little bit higher. So as you're sitting on your cushion, you'll feel yourself going a bit side to side. Now, if sitting on the wobble cushion is taking you too low, because you need a little bit more height, then you can always sit the wobble cushion on top of an additional height, so that you can have your feet, you can have your hips as high as you need. Ideally, as we say, we want to have our knees lower than our hips. You can use a little low stool or table to do that. Okay, so let's just get our wobble going. Now, if you're not using a wobble cushion, don't worry, just go into the Baddha Konasana position, getting as much height as you can through the spine. So let's just take the backs of the, somebody's wobbling away, very good, Olive, very good. Take the backs of the hands onto our knees. Think about the soles of the feet in contact. Think about the crown of the head moving up and the shoulders moving down. Think about the sit bones moving down onto the cushion and slightly back behind you. And also, lastly, think about the back of the waist just moving back slightly. So we're not thrusting forward with our abdomen, but rather we're taking the back waist back. So the ribs, so the front ribs soften towards the spine. Great. Right, let's take our arms out. So feel, in order to keep the balance, how you have to get that little squeeze in the pelvic floor, which draws your pelvis, your pelvic floor up into towards the base of the spine. And then we'll take our hands together, rolling our shoulders back and down, breathing. So keep feeling that lift up through the pelvic floor. Shoulders down, away from the ears. And then if you can, we can slightly hinge forward. As you hinge forward, you're going to feel it intensifying in that groin area. And then if you can bring the fingers down. Now, as soon as you bring the fingers down, you're making the balance easier because you're spreading the balance points around your body. And then from there, we'll lift up. Now, as we lift up the arms, can we feel that squeeze? Because we're going to drop our shoulders away from the ears. Take the backs of the hands back. Remember, you can use the belt to do that. If you find that your elbows are bending and you're stiff in the shoulders, just use a belt to help you so you can get a nice forward movement. So now we're back to just balancing with our feet and where we're sitting on the wobble cushion. So notice how you have to really draw that pelvic basin up and in to keep the balance. Shoulders down, away from the ears, stretch both elbows away. Now we're taking the arms behind our back. Use the belt if you need. Clasp your hands together, squeeze the shoulders away from the ears. Breathing. So don't worry about dropping the head. We're thinking about the sternum to lift. So you're not bending forward by making the back into a round shape. Lovely. And then release up. Squeeze the shoulders. Shoulders down, away from the ears. Feel your pelvic basin drawing into your spine. and back down, catch behind your back, squeeze your shoulder. Hinge forward as much as you can. Breathing. Feel that squeeze, feel how you have to just bring the pelvic basin up towards the base of the spine. Last one, stretching up. You can hook your thumbs if you find that quite easy. Send your hands up to the ceiling, backs of the hands back behind you. Drop your shoulders. Drop your shoulders. Take the backs of the hands back. Send your fingers up to the ceiling. Use your belt. If you're finding that hard, just use your belt, and then just change your thumbs. Feels a bit weird. The other way around. Drop your shoulders. Bring your sternum forward. Straight arms. Use your belt if you need. Feel that pelvic floor activation. And release. Lovely. Great. Okay, and then from there, let's do straight legs. So we're still sitting on our wobble cushion, so feel it. Allow yourself to wobble. Feel how you have to, in order to get your balance, you have to send the sit bones down, and you're using the heels actually as well. And you're bringing that whole lower abdomen in and up. And the perineum is squeezing in and up. Hopefully you can feel that. And then we're going to take our belt again. So the thing is that for some of us, our shoulders are quite stiff without even realizing it. And then when to actually bring your arms up like that is not happening because of one thing or another. So that's absolutely fine. So we use our belt to help us. And we can do that by making a nice, well, we don't need to make a loop, but we can just hold the belt as wide as we need so that our elbows can be straight and our shoulders can drop down. We're sending our heels away. Let the back of the knees open up towards the floor. That's it. Keep dropping the shoulders. And if that's easy, you can obviously work your hands closer. Begin to take the belt back behind you. Drop your shoulders. Straight elbows. Breathing. Feel how you're making those little adjustments, little wobbles going on in order to keep your balance. And then as we exhale, we can use our belt and just loop it around our feet and sit up tall as we can. Let the sternum lift and come slightly forward. Breathing. So it's up to you how far you want to go forward. So you can come forward, like let your tummy now begin to fold onto your thighs. Keep the sternum lengthening. And if that is not working for you, you can stay nice and tall and lean back slightly to keep your back straight. For some people, as soon as they sit into this position, they're going to feel it very strong in the hamstring. So you just gradually work your way down. Breathing. Now wherever you are, let go of your hands, clasp your hands or your belt. Again, squeeze the shoulders together. Lengthen through the spine as much as you can. Breathing, let's hold for 4 more breaths. Lovely. And then release. Okay, so now I'm going to just take that left foot and take it behind. So we've got the front of the foot on the floor. And then bring your fist between the leg and your heel. As you do that, you might need to get a little bit more, you might find that you're going off to one side. So with your wobble cushion, you should be able to balance that by bringing more weight over the straight leg, the right hip, and then up, lengthening up and over. You can use our belt. So we're only, because we're only doing one straight leg, then you're only having to have the action in one leg. Then you can sometimes find that not so stressful as doing two legs forward. And also it's quite interesting to find out which leg is more resistant. So you often find that you don't realize that one leg is tighter or looser than the other. So just keep sliding forward if you can, and you're bringing your tummy onto your thighs. Some of you can let the head go down. So we'll hold for 5 breaths. And then inhale to come up. So what you find with all these forward bends is that the more that you can soften, the further you go. So actually holding them for a little bit longer, it makes a big difference. And there'll be a point where you just find yourself relaxing, and then your body just gives a little bit more. Okay, so we're changing the other leg. So we've got our left leg straight and the right foot's back behind us, taking a fist between the thigh and the heel. Yeah, I mean, if you find that you're listing too far over, even with your cushion, you can pop something else underneath. But with the wobble cushion, especially if it's a little bit more blown up, just by transferring your weight, you get more height on one side. Okay, so we're lifting up, beginning to come over. Notice where you're feeling that stretch in the leg. So you don't have to go any more. You can always just stay quite high, just breathing into wherever you're feeling that stretch in the hamstring, or you can just still use your belt. We're trying to bring the tummy towards the thigh. And breathing. So let's hold for 10 breaths now, softening wherever you can into that. And then to come up, we're lengthening the crown of the head away, so we come up with a nice long spine and release. Great, so from here, let's take our legs wide. So we're still, readjust yourself so that you're right on top of your wobble cushion, then you get more effective wobble from it. So we've got our straight legs. And we're going to slide the right hand, we can down the right leg, we can use our belt. Let the left hand go up, so the left inner arm is alongside your ear. And then if you can, we're pushing that right hand against the right leg to get a little rotation. Beautiful. And then if that's easy for you, you can slide further down, bringing that left arm over towards your right toe. Breathing. Keep that breath going in through the nose, out through the nose. Beautiful. Lovely. And then coming back. So we're going to take that left arm against the left leg. So if you find that you don't really have much give to go to the side, that's fine. You can do something like this, straightening up the right arm and just using that left hand to push against so that you get a little bit of a rotation. And you'll find that that's going to give you quite a lot of work through the arm. And if that's giving you enough challenge, then that's great. You just stay with that and breathe, keep your shoulders dropping down. And then if you find that when you do that, nothing really much is happening, then you need to go down a little bit more to begin to activate your body. So we can bring, sliding that left hand down. If you can get your left elbow against the knee, you can use that to help you rotate. If you're quite far down, if you can get your head on your left hand, that helps you to rotate initially. And then finally we're aiming to catch around the outside edge of your left foot with your right hand. And at the same time turning your trunk. Breathe. Lovely, and then release. Whoa, great. Okay, right, let's do a little twist now. So we're taking the legs forward again, repositioning ourselves on our wobble cushion. So we're having to do a little bit of adjusting to keep our balance. And as we do that, we're drawing the pelvic basin up into towards the lower vertebrae. So let's bend our right knee. So with these twists, although the position you see in a yoga book is with your knee all the way up, your heel all the way up, and so on, and close to your opposite leg. But for some people, you're not really going to get it binds you too tight, and then you get so stuck in it that there's no benefit in the pose. So you can have your foot further away from the tops of your legs and further away from your left foot, so that you can get a nice lift up. And then we're going to lift and rotate. So this left hip bone is rotating round towards the right hip bone. And then only if you find that that you can get round, you can bring your heel in tighter. So let's stretch through that left heel. Get the spine as high as you can as you rotate. So it's like a corkscrew, your spine stays long, doesn't bend. And then if you can work the heel down, the elbow down, the outside edge of your right leg, then great. Squeezing the elbow against the leg to get more rotation. So we're trying to make contact with the left side on that right thigh. Let's do 3 more breaths. and release. Great. Okay, and then we'll change side. So we'll start off a little bit with the foot further away to begin with, just to give us loads of space. You can also have a block or something behind you that's not going to slip for you to catch with your hand, and that can help you get more lift and turn as well. So we've got our left foot on the floor, we've got our knee pointing directly up to the ceiling. We're stretching through our right heel. Get our lift and turn. Looking for height. If that's working for you, you can hook the crook of your elbow around your knee. You can begin to take the elbow down. Keep that right heel working. Stretching through that right heel. Nice, and release. Great. Okay, so we'll come back into sitting. So we're going to now just sit, have the wobble cushion to one side. You might need it in a minute. We're going to sit on our heels, but start off kneeling and bring the right knee in front. We're going to walk our heels away. And this is where you might need your wobble cushion again behind you to sit on, to give yourself a little bit height. If you can sit on the floor, then that's great. It's quite an interesting experience having your cushion there. So you can use a cushion or a bolster just to give yourself a little bit of height, but your right knee is over your left knee. Let's bring the right hand in front and swing around to catch. Fingers pointing to the ceiling, shoulders down away from the ears. So again, you can use your belt. So you can have your belt in the right hand, and as you come round, you can catch the belt wherever works for you, so that you've got a little bit of something to pull against. Keep the shoulders dropping. So you want, Richard, so you want to take one arm under and see if you can catch. That's it. Yeah, and you can use your belt to pull it down on. Okay, shoulders away from the ears. Keep the shoulders dropping, breathing. Lovely. Now undo the arms, take your arms wide, and we're going to lengthen up through the tops of the legs, lengthen up, coming over your leg. You can have the arms out to the side to begin with. You'll probably feel that in the hips a little bit. And then if you like, you can just bring the hands forward. Just let your ribs settle on top of the thigh. Okay, now to come up, come up as long as you can. So you're bringing your sternum forward. Great. So we're going to swap legs. So if we want to do it the little fun way, we can just bring our weight forward and kneeling. Bring this time the left knee in front of the right knee. And then coming back to sit between the heels. If you need, you can pop something under your bottom so that you're slightly raised. Working your heels back and the left knee above the right knee. Sitting up tall as we can. So give yourself the height that you need. You probably, well, you might not, depending how your hips are, but you might feel that in particularly the top hip, the left hip. Okay, and then we're bringing the left arm up. Use our belt, and then we can reach, either catch the belt, or if we can. So if you're using the belt, you've got the belt dangling down from your left arm. You take the right arm underneath, just catch sufficiently so that you're getting a little pull on the backs of the shoulders. Those of you that, yeah, keep the elbows bent and then drop your shoulders down away from the ears. Palms to ceiling, nice. See if you can bring the lower abdomen in towards the spine, crown of the head reaching for the ceiling, shoulders dropping back and down. And you'll notice that if you're doing those things, you'll find without having to think about it, you've also drawn the pelvic basin, the pelvic floor up in towards your spine, the base of the spine. Okay, and then letting go. Take the arms wide, long front body hinging forward. So just give yourself a moment to warm up. You're aiming to bring the ribs, the front ribs, onto the thigh, onto that left thigh. Then gradually you can sink lower. Lovely, and then to come up, lengthen the crown of the head so that the spine is long, the sternum comes forward. Great, and then we'll just unwind all that then. Nice, and then you can come off your cushion. So we'll just do a little wind down now before we go into our relaxation. So we're going to lie on the floor. If you find that your chin is sticking up in the ceiling, you want to put something under your head to bring your nape of the neck nice and long. And we're bringing that right ankle in front of the left knee and then catching around your thigh or your shin. Just pulling that knee forward. Now we've just been working the hip, so you might find it feels a little bit looser than normal. If you've got a chair, you can have your foot on the chair, which will save you having to catch your leg, so that can keep your shoulders nice and neutral. And there's a sense of the pelvis tilting this way. So basically, the navel is moving in the direction of the pubic bone. So not that way, but this way. And then you'll feel it more in that right glute. Breathing. You can also lean slightly to the left to accentuate that little glute stretch. They say that the glute muscle is the strongest muscle in the body. So if it gets really tight, what happens is that you end up overusing your other joints, like your knees and your ankles. So that's why we do concentrate a bit on helping to stop our glute muscle from becoming so tight that it's not sharing the load in the appropriate way for the best dynamic for our body not to become overloaded incorrectly. Lovely. Okay, so we'll swap sides now. That's left ankle in front of right knee. Using our chair or just catching. And if you find, that it's a bit hard to catch, then don't forget, you can use your belt. Here it is. And bring the belt around your knee. We want to try and keep our shoulders passive, neutral, so we're not try to avoid catching by hunching in the shoulders. Keep a nice rotated shoulder opening in front of the chest. And then we can just lean a little bit to the right. So making sure that we're bringing the navel in the direction of the pubic bone. So the pelvis is tilting. Not that way, so we're not rounding the spine at the base of the spine. Breathe. You can always take the arms over the head, and this if you enjoy that. Well, obviously not if you're holding on with your legs, but if you're not holding with the leg, just noticing that breath in through the nose, out through the nose. Nice, and then from there, if we just work our way up the mat, so we've got enough space, and then we'll put some cushion on the right hand side. Let's straighten our right leg. I'll just work my way up a little bit more. So straighten the right leg, bring your left knee up, and we're going to just bring that left knee over to come onto the right cushion, and rotate your left shoulder now so it's on the floor. So it's up to you you can have the knee lower or higher, just depending on where you want to feel the stretch and what feels nicer for your body. So when we're in this position, we're looking for a passive position. So don't go so far that it's causing you to feel tense and contract your muscles. You want to be able to feel that kind of sense of relaxing. Notice the inhalation and the exhalation, and how your belly swells as you breathe in and sinks as you exhale, as you breathe out. Nice. So let's take that over now to the other side. So coming back into straight position and taking whatever cushions or blocks over onto the left side. So this time the left leg straight, we're bringing that right knee up and taking it over to the left side. Finding the height that feels right for us. So we might want to be higher or lower. Bearing in mind that we want to be able to rotate that right shoulder so that it stays on the floor. So if you go too far over, that you can't get your shoulder down, it means that you can do a few things. You can just drop your knee a little bit and that might enable you to keep your shoulder down. Or you can just pop a few more cushions under your knee, which will do the same thing. Not everybody, you may not need a cushion. If you might want to go straight onto the floor to give yourself a little bit more stretch. So it's like ringing the spine, that your hips are going this way towards the left, and your shoulder and from the waist rolling to the right. Noticing how the belly rises and falls on that inhalation and exhalation. So a good indication is if you've got a nice stretch going and you haven't overdone it, is if you can really notice how your breath gets a little bit deeper. So when you breathe in, your belly swells on that inhalation and sinks on the exhalation. Okay, and then from there, just one last thing before we do our relaxation, which is kind of halfway there. And you can have, if you want to use a blanket, you can have that ready. So we're going to raise our knees up, bring the soles of the feet together in our Baddha Konasana position. And then just get enough height so that when you bring the soles of the feet together and let your knees drop, your knees are really supported. Tuck your shoulders under. So we're going to just stay like that for a couple of minutes before we then transfer to relaxation. So again, pop something under your head if that helps your neck to be in a better position. We want the nape of the neck nice and long, shoulders rolling back and down away from the ears. Nice distance between the ears and the shoulders. Just allowing the knees to flop to the side. So get as much height as you can so that you don't feel any tension in the groin, because whenever you feel a bit of tension, then what happens is that you contract, so you're actually closing, although you're opening your knees, you're actually closing them effectively. So if you really give yourself the support at the right height, what happens is that your knees just drop onto your raise, and that then enables your groin to soften. And then you may find once you've started off like that, you can then take some of your blocks away and you can keep that same softening feeling in the groin. Whereas if you started off at that level, your groin wouldn't be ready for it, so you would end up being in that contraction. That makes sense. Okay, and then from there we're going to take that into our relaxation. So you can keep your legs like that if you like, or you can straighten your legs with your knees supported, or you can just take away anything on your knee if that feels more comfortable for you. And then if you want to pop your blanket on. So wherever we find ourselves now, just take a moment or two to find a position that you can sustain. So you may need to just do a few more little fidgets. If you can, rotate your shoulders so that your palms face up to the ceiling, then that's ideal. And then with every exhalation, we're going to let the weight of our body descend a little bit more onto our mat. Following the rhythm of our breath. Allowing that lower jaw to fall away slightly from the upper jaw. So there's a little space between the lips. And then we can take our inner gaze, keeping our eyes closed, to that point above the bridge of the nose and between the eyebrows. Noticing the rise and the fall of the belly on the inhalation and exhalation.
And then from there, very gently, just beginning to bring our awareness back to our body, lying on the mat. We're going to get ready to take a deep breath. And just move our fingers and toes. And then just have a little think about stretching our legs, our arms, and then give them a little stretch, kicking away any support you were using, so that you can have a good stretch all through your body in a nice straight line. And then we'll just roll over onto one side. And let's just take a little moment nice, and then bringing ourselves up into sitting. So you can prop yourself up again if you like. And then let's just finish together. So if we bring our hands together, so the thumbs are on the sternum, and just lightly bringing the sternum in towards your thumbs, slightly up. Roll our shoulders back and down. Breathe. Lovely. Thank you all very much.